Hi everyone. Today I'm going to tell you the story of how I accidentally became a minimalist. First, I moved a lot. And second, I saw real need for the first time. Now let me expand on those two things. When I say I moved a lot, the longest I have lived anywhere is our current rental home of 4.5 years, and that beats the others by a significant amount. During my childhood, I remember distinctly about every 2 years having to pack up everything we owned, get in the car and drive a really long way, and then deep clean a brand new house after just deep cleaning the old one, and then start the process again of unpacking, organizing, and settling in, and then making new friends and discovering the community around me. I think this made me willing to adapt and overcome obstacles and willing to meet new people. I also learned that I really like spring cleaning when it's an empty house. It is much easier to clean a house right after you have moved out or right before you move in. Cleaning while your house is cluttered is significantly harder. And as a mom of two rambunctious little boys, I do not want to clean any more than I already have to. I also learned how important it is to sort what we own and decide, is it really worth moving across the country? Oftentimes not. And again, I remember seeing at one point in my life a dung beetle rolling around its ball of dung, and I thought, that is what it feels like when I move my stuff from house to house, or when I take something in my home and just organize it into another spot instead of realizing I don't actually need it. I don't want to spend the rest of my life rolling this stuff around. I want to be able to let it go when I need to let it go. And decluttering, I actually found that that's free oxytocin in the same way that some people buy stuff because it is comforting, and I'll get into that later. Decluttering can also bring a sense of relief and freedom and accomplishment. Another great thing that moving brought to me was the gift of travel. I got to see so many states and not just stop in and visit, but truly get to know the culture of that state. I lived in Texas, but I can tell you I was on the Louisiana side of that border. It was definitely more Cajun country than cattle country, but because of where I lived, I got to experience both, and I think that that really enriched my life. I also moved overseas, and I got to experience different cultures. It's quite common for families not to own a kitchen table and to simply use a mat on the floor, and that's where you eat, on the floor, communal style. And I saw how normal it was for families to only own what they need. In India, families often own only enough plates for their family, but if they have a large gathering, such as a wedding or a puja, they'll have big paper plates and mound it full of food, so they really richly feed their guests in this huge cultural experience, but with minimal equipment. Another thing I saw while traveling was true need, and this brings me to that second header. Once you see real need, it's hard to spend your money on frivolous items. Once you see starvation, malnutrition, mass homelessness, day laborers working simply to feed themselves for one day, how can you store up a house full of items just for them to get dusty, just for them to break, just for them to rot, instead of making your lives comfortable? You can see my son's nursery. It's very comfortable. However, it is not full of excess. We regularly give away the extra that we don't need. I think that is an amazing habit and will cultivate in our children the gift of generosity. Comfort is important. As a mom, part of my job is to make sure that my children are cared for and comfortable. However, when comfort turns into spoiling, coddling, then we need to think, is this truly helpful for my child's long-term development? Or could it be helpful for them to learn that excess isn't necessary? Excess, in some instances, might even be selfish. If they're not willing to share their toys and they're hoarding everything from their brother, isn't it right for me to teach them to share? I understand that in America, we are constantly bombarded with marketing intended to tell us that we need a certain item, that all our problems will magically vanish if we just have that one cleaning product, that one organization product, that one new item that will show our neighbors we've really made it. But ultimately, these items just need stored and cared for, and that takes time and money and effort. I think our time would be better spent with our families. Our effort would be better spent for others, and our money would be better spent elsewhere. Shopping can give you a hit of dopamine, but so can decluttering. So can helping someone in need. Helping others truly can increase your sense of self-worth and help you to see yourself, how God made you, how God intended you to be, generous and loving, helping your neighbor. When you read the Bible verse, love your neighbor as yourself, do you do that? Do we really? I'm looking at my home and it's full of creature comforts. All my needs are met and there's nothing that I want for. However, when I think back on the people that I've seen in the United States as well as abroad that are in need, my heart recognizes how cush my life is, how comfortable my life is, and how much I want to spend my life and pour it out so that I can help others. We've often realized that one generation wants to be the stepping stool to help their children go further. But what if we don't just help our children? What if we help the world around us improve, better themselves, go further, make education accessible, make food accessible, shelter accessible? I've lived in a lot of different homes. Of course, the home of my family of origin, but also with my in-laws' family, and then living overseas. My parents had an orphanage in the lower level of our home. They eventually moved into their own building. That's a story for another day. But I got to see what it's like to welcome someone into your home. I lived in dorms, got to know girls of all different backgrounds. I lived in an apartment where all your walls are shared with another family. And I've been hosted by locals who are willing to help me get to know their country. And truly seeing all these different families, all these different individuals live their life to the fullest has helped me realize that only together can we move forward. Only together can we better the world around us. I don't want to be a minimalist who simply packs light. I want to be a minimalist who lives light, who lives generously, who lives given. I want to make a difference. And to me, minimalism is a way to reduce consumerism, reduce maximalism, and help me to see that the American dream does not hinge on how big my house is or how new my car is, but instead is all about, is my family loving, close-knit, connected? Have we made a difference in the lives of those around us? That's my dream. And I invite you into it. This life of generosity that I call minimalism, that is where the joy is. Declutter your worries, sort through any need for false dopamine or any selfishness, and organize your life into one that mirrors Christ's. Thank you for listening. Have a great day. Bye-bye.